Dead on movie reviews.
Salutations and mutilations, you're listening to Otherworldly Culture presents Dead On Movie Reviews. Tonight, we will present horror movie reviews and lively debate here on otherworldlyculture.com and on future select Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join our live chat at that time by clicking on the live shows link on the otherworldlyculture.com website. I'm your host, Tim Kretschmann, coming to you from the land of lakes and landfills, beautiful and smelly Muskego. Dead On Movie Reviews is now one of 4 rotating shows on Dead On Thursdays, alternating weeks. You will see Dead on the Bases, our horror sports mashup, Horror Realm Radio, the official podcast of Pittsburgh's Horror Realm Convention, and our newest offering, Now Streaming, which is a panel discussion on a film on a free ad-supported streaming service and will premiere on Thursday, Halloween. So it is now my honor to introduce the Faculty of Fear panel presenting tonight's lectures. We'll start with our newest panelist, who is Suzy MacIntyre, alternately known as a Snowflake or Ice Princess. Suzy loves Poltergeist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and wears tiaras. Suzy will be our host for the upcoming Now Streaming program, coming to you on an upcoming Dead On Thursday. Here she is. Here's Suzy. Hi, Suzy.
Hi.
Next in the faculty is our professor of meatology. He's called the meat and half is sweet. He is part of Horror Realm Radio, and he has a special guest announcement coming near the end of the program tonight. This is Rich Dalzatto. Hi, Rich.
Hey, how you doing?
Fantastic. Glad you could stay up this late at night to help us with tonight's program.
I'm always up.
All right. Okay, little Mikey Exler is back again today as the denizen of the dismal, the purveyor of the putrid, that exciting exclaimer of glorious gloom wrestling up from his stony tomb. He's the monster, the mad ghoul, the glad, and that sack of mumbling, moaning pus that barfs out baloney. He's the one. He's our panel-purveying provocateur. He is Coach Michael Exler.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me on the show once again.
It's fantastic to have you on the show. It's always happy to hear you singing your songs and doing such a great job here on the show. So everybody, keep your ass in the seat, sharpen your pencil. It's time to get unruly with the Faculty of Fear. And we're going to start things out here with our first review as soon as I hit that one. And we are going to Suzy. And
Oh, do I have to go first?
you do now. I hit the button. You heard I pressed the button. So now you're going. Suzy, why don't you tell us about your film?
Well, I picked this film in celebration of my birthday and my wish to have how do we even say his last name? Ryan Phillippe, all to myself.
Felipe.
Yes, well, Phillippe, anyway, my wish would be to have him and to run away with him and to give a shameless plug to our new show, Now Streaming. I decided to go to the free apps, Tubi, and I forget the other one, and watch the 2017's Wish Upon. I had high hopes for the movie. The director, I don't even know his name, and it doesn't really matter anymore. John something, but he did TV shows 0 Hour, Sleepy Hollow, the movies Annabelle, Conjuring, Insidious, all these things that I love. The writer, Barbara Marshall, she did the TV show Terra Nova, and it starred Joey King, who I don't know anything about her. She's the main character. She hangs out with Tay-Tay, Selena Gomez.
I am
Everybody
ashamed to
seems
say
like her.
something. I have to tell you this.
Oh, God. Please do.
Joey King is the star of a threequel set of movies called The Kissing Booth.
If you say the kiss, yeah.
I knew this. I'm very ashamed that I know this, but it's the truth.
I've never even seen those movies.
I've seen them.
She was in Slender Man, White House Down, Independence Day Resurgence. Said she hangs out with Taylor Swift.
Who
So,
doesn't these
no.
days?
I thought the movie
They're a
was
bunch
going
of
to be good.
terrible movies.
But then, most important thing is, it has Ryan Phillippe, and when you have him, do you need anybody else in the movie?
Oh my god.
Is this Reese Witherspoon's ex-husband we're talking about?
It
You mean-
is.
She's the ex-wife.
You know,
She's always too good.
he was also in Big Sky for
Yeah,
about
for like,
3
what,
episodes.
30 seconds? Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
what I've noticed about him is he can't keep down a job. That's what I've noticed.
Well,
He was in the greatest horror movie ever made.
Oh,
which
wait.
one?
It's going to be I Know What You Did Last Summer or something?
Of course.
Yeah.
isn't that how they met? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's in this movie. He's my birthday wish. So I went with this movie. It was The Craft meets Final Destination in all of the wrong way possible. Take everything bad from those two movies and smush them together, and you have Wish Upon.
But this was made just in 2018. And
Yeah.
it feels like a mid-90s horror
Yeah,
film from what I was able to glean from IMDb.
Yes, I would agree with that. So Joey King plays a bullied teenager. She's tormented by her dead mother's suicide that she witnessed. She's embarrassed by her dad because he has this bizarre obsession with dumpster diving and finding rare things there. He decides to dumpster dive outside of her high school one day, embarrasses the hell out of her. So he decides to make up for it by giving her a mystery box that looks kind of like the thing from Hellraiser, but absolutely completely different. It's a mysterious puzzle box. So he says, why not apologize to my daughter by giving her this for her birthday? Mystery box turns into this little thing. That's some Asian thing. It gives magical powers to whoever owns it and grants them 7 wishes. But in like every other cliche movie, the 7 wishes come with a cost.
So it's a little Asian thing that grants wishes. Would it be Kelly Hugh?
No, I just wish I could wish for a different movie to watch.
It's called a remote control.
Yeah, but if you just put it on silent and skip over everything except for the scenes that Ryan's in, it's doable. Like he is.
Okay.
All but maybe 2 characters were just terrible humans. Like, everyone in it was just horrible. The main character, you want to feel bad for her because she was bullied, but you just want to bully her and kill her yourself. She's a complete idiot, and she's just a shitty person. Every bully in the movie is just a shitty person. Even her best friends that are being bullied are just as shitty and just as mean as the shitty bullies.
Wow.
Every scene is 1,000% predictable.
Okay.
The death scenes of the shitty people aren't even enjoyable to watch because they're just cliche death scenes that have been done over and over and over again. Like, someone dies in a crashing elevator. That's not very original. Oh, guess what? The garbage disposal outsmarts the human, and she dies that way.
Okay.
What makes it even worse is that the poor girl's beloved dog, the only thing she has left from her dead mother, dies. They kill the freaking dog. And yet,
That's not going to be
the
popular for you, that's for sure.
And somehow, after the death of her dumb dog, the dumb bitch still thinks it's a good idea. Let's make more wishes. I did not enjoy this movie.
Do you want to grade it yet?
Not yet. I
Okay.
still have more to bitch about.
Okay, go ahead,
worst
bitch
part-
away.
The worst part of the entire 90-minute nightmare is that the only time they make Ryan Phillippe even remotely close to his amazing, so much better than any other man on the planet self, is when one of her best friends starts giving him googly eyes in this really bizarre, uncomfortable, no reason for it scene that has now tarnished my dreams of being with him forevermore. The only satisfying part of the entire movie is the last 30 seconds when it comes to a spluttering conclusion and that she is served her just desserts instead of her birthday cake. To which that I will have my birthday cake now, as I grade it a C minus, because even a garbage picking, bizarre, googly eyed douchebag Ryan Phillippe is better than no Ryan Phillippe movie at all. The end.
Wow.
I have a question.
I'm surprised it got all the way up to a C minus, but
Because it had a really hot dude in it, so that's worth it.
okay.
What's your question, Rich?
Listening to Suzy, it sounds like she's trying to say Ryan Phillippe is hotter than Jason Oscamp. Is this true?
100%.
Wow. All right,
Oh.
I'm texting him.
There's a taxonomy behind us. All right. Well, thank you, Suzy. Now let's see if our next panelist is ready to go over there, Rich. What have you been watching, Rich?
I went to the movie theater last week to see Monster Summer. I figured I'd give you guys a review on something currently in theaters. That was premiere night.
Wow.
I see that it's almost out of its way out of the theaters already. So
I didn't hear about this movie coming at all. Did they advertise this at all? The only time I heard about it was you.
I mean, I told you about it like 2 months ago, so there must have been some advertisement somewhere.
Yeah, I
don't
didn't see
remember it.
anything.
I mean, I didn't like wake up someday and just know about it.
You were the only person that knew about it, Rich. I had no idea until you told me about it.
I've never heard of it.
Are we sure it exists?
Well, acquaint us with it, Rich.
Yeah, because
So-
I still haven't seen a poster or anything about it.
So Monster Summer, it takes place in the 90s, just to set the era for you, which I thought it was set in the 80s, which always gets me excited because that was, the era that I peaked in. But the 90s was cool because I was still pretty awesome. To be honest with you, though, like you could tell it was set in the 90s, but it didn't give you like that. It didn't give you that vibe, like, oh, this is really nostalgic, which is fine. Sometimes movies overdo the nostalgia, so
Yeah.
I was fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
So the story is it opens up with this kid in the woods being pursued by something which turns out to be what we'll just call a mysterious force, and this force catches up to him. We don't see its face or its physical apparition, whatever. But it leaves this kid by the roadside where a policeman finds him, and he is essentially just like a lifeless zombie at that point. It cuts away and to another little northeastern town. I guess this was a northeastern town also, and it's the beginning of summer, and you're introduced to this four friend group. It's the typical movie friend group. You got the main kid of this film who also is surrounded by the really cool kid that all the girls like, the kind of dorky friend, and then to round it out, they have a tomboy who's part of the group, which, since you brought up Reese Witherspoon, is the daughter of Reese Witherspoon, was the actress for this role.
Oh.
But she was so hot.
You
back
mean-
in the day.
The daughter of Ryan Phillippe.
I don't know. I didn't do my homework. But so we've been introduced to this time and time again. These groups of friends, go back to the Monster Squad. You go, Stranger Things, all that, and we get some pretty cool, or Goonies even, take it out of horror, and we get these interesting characters that are fun and funny and kind of like make you remember your childhood. Unfortunately, these four kind of fall flat. You never feel that happy, nostalgic feeling with them. The kids weren't bad actors, but they didn't do anything impressive. They didn't deliver any good humor.
They didn't
And
have the chemistry. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, they didn't have the chemistry. So the first part of the movie, they're setting up for this mysterious force entering into their town too. Um, After a baseball game, which the four of them are on the same team, they're heading back to somebody's house or their houses, and there's a kind of secluded home with. They start talking about it. It's basically the guy in town who is the outcast, and there's some story about him that we always get that is probably not completely true, but everybody thinks he's a murderer or some sort of monstrous person, and they sneak onto his property and to get a look at something, and of course he catches them and they run off screaming, but the main character kid drops his backpack on the way. So it turns out that this character, this guy, is played by Mel Gibson, which is part of why I wanted to see this, because Mel Gibson in a horror film, definitely piqued my interest, and he's had some others that were good.
Yeah.
Um, the mysterious force finds one of this kid's friends and leaves him a lifeless zombie. So now the town's trying to figure out, like they think he's just traumatized from near drowning in the ocean, which has nothing to do with how he ended up like this, but people are being realistic. There's not monsters in the world. And this kid starts to suspect something's up. Mel Gibson drops his backpack off on his front porch, which causes the two of them to eventually start talking. And turns out Mel Gibson is a retired detective, not some monstrous person. And the main character kid, I don't remember his name, Mel Gibson and the other two friends basically begin the investigation of figuring out what this mysterious force is. It's long and drawn out. I'm not going to tell you what the mysterious force is because, it actually is a particular type of monster, and why ruin that surprise for you?
Okay.
And eventually, of course, we get to a point where there's a confrontation because this thing is taking kid after kid out, and it wants these kids too. And confrontation, the defeat of the monster, and we cut away to a happy ending. So that's it in a nutshell without telling you too much. Long and short of it, there's it. Mel Gibson shouldn't be in this movie, not because he's not good. The script and the surrounding actors and actresses, he's too good, honestly, and it felt like he was forcing himself to play down to the rest of the crowd.
Okay.
So that kind of ruined the Mel Gibson appearance for me. There are Lorraine Bracco was in it, which
She's
Mike,
also a big star.
I think Mike just met her, didn't you, Mike?
It did. She was very nice.
Her role starts out good. How they conclude her part in this whole thing really kind of junky, really. And again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think you'll be very disappointed in how her role in this movie ends. Then, again, it's just everything is just kind of plain and vanilla. Nobody puts a great performance on. There's nothing visually amazing.
So why did this get a theatrical release? Because it looks like a streaming movie to me. Everything I looked online.
It probably should have been a streaming movie, and that's, the one thing I want to say. I think if you watch this at home, I think it'll be a fun movie for you. You won't be blown away by it, but to get excited like I did and go see it in the theater, it was not a good decision on my part.
Well, you've had many bad decisions, and we've chronicled many of them here on the show. Does anybody know why Mel Gibson did this? Is he like a friend of the director or something?
It's called money.
Oh.
Would it have been better if Ryan Phillippe was in it instead of Mel Gibson?
No, it would not have been.
I disagree.
I have a theory about this. Because Mel Gibson is still directing movies, I think he's got a horror movie in him yet. I really do, because he has a torture fetish that he's so big on. I think he's trying to figure out the genre, because everybody that watches this show and is on the show knows that horror movies are the ones making money these days. I just think that's what's going on here.
Well, this one I do not believe is making money.
No, this doesn't look like a true horror movie to me. It looks like a Goonies episode or Monster Squad or something.
No, it's more of a horror film.
It is, okay.
And it's got a really specific type of monster that people will like that, but again, be let down, I think, overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so is it grading time?
I don't know what the hell else you want me to do.
Okay. What would you like to grade this?
I'm going to give it a C.
There it is, a C.
And that's only because I do believe most people will not see it in the theater, and I think, again, it'll be an enjoyable night home. If you saw it in the theater, it's a D.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the more you pay, the more that you feel like it should be a theatrical experience.
There are two surprise actors in the film that I didn't mention either because they're nice little surprises. And one in particular, I think a lot of 90s kids will be a big fan of his appearance.
Danny Glover.
No. Danny Glover was old in the 80s. 90s kids weren't like, oh, it's Danny Glover.
He had Predator 2. That was in the 90s.
Yeah, Predator 2 is fantastic. Just in case you forgot.
And the Mel Gibson and him connection.
I'm going to guess Kevin James is one of them. And
thanks for ruining the crap I'm trying not to tell people.
Why would you go with Kevin James? Who cares about Kevin James?
That's one of the two, but that's not the one that I think people will be excited about. Hopefully Mr. Talkie there's not going to ruin that one too.
Well, I think I've been showing his picture the whole time, so I think I did ruin it.
Is it the umpire?
Yes.
Oh crap! Well, then it's been ruined.
Yeah.
The kid from Sandlot, the freckled kid.
You're killing me, Smalls. He probably says that line because it's all he's known for.
But I thought that was a really cool casting decision, and it's not just a throwaway character in the movie either, which was cool.
Well, and that's definitely a 90s thing, right? I think Sandlot was 91, 92, something like that.
Yeah, that's what kids were into, not Old Man Glover.
When did Cruel Intentions come out?
Would have been a better choice.
When did what come out, Susie?
When did Cruel Intentions come out?
90s.
It was like 98, 99.
Don't feed her. You know what she's about to say. God damn it. All right. This review is over. Okay, we're going on.
Wait, one more. When did I Know What You Did Last Summer come out?
A couple years ago.
No,
well, that's a TV show, the movie.
I was in high school, so it had to be like 97, 98, something, 96.
What a piece of crap that movie was.
I'm just saying, those are both in the 90s. Who was in both of those movies?
I have bad news for you all. I believe I Know What You Did Last Summer that they're working on either a reboot or something like that.
Why?
That Freddie Prinze Jr. has agreed he's going to be on it. Sarah Michelle Gellar said no because she was killed. But that's all I know.
I mean, what else does Freddie Prinze Jr. have to do?
Jennifer Love Hewitt. He's running that wrestling shit.
Like I said.
Actually, I think he do a voice in. I think he does a voice for DC Animation. I can't remember which character, but I'm pretty sure he does a lot of voice work.
Is Jennifer Love Hewitt still stacked, or did gravity screw that up?
She is still a very healthy young lady.
If you would watch any movie on the Hallmark Christmas thing, you would find that.
Yeah, that's what I do with my free time. What do I look like, a loser?
We're not
I don't
going to
know.
answer
Y'all have
that.
seen
We're
the
going to
kissing
go.
booth. What's the difference?
Never saw that.
We're going to move on to Mike. What have you been watching?
Alrighty, so I believe this film had a small theatrical release, and then it was finally put to Shudder. It was a Shudder exclusive. It's called In a Violent Nature. The director is Chris Nash. The only thing I could find that he did was ABCs of Death 2, and yeah, that's it.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I mean, he's done some other things, but nothing of note.
So he's Johnny
Um,
Big Time.
He is big time.
Okay.
So the actors in it, anyone has ever heard of. So we'll move past that. I don't usually harp on the runtime, but the runtime is an hour and 34 minutes, and this will become an important part later in this review.
Ooh.
So stay tuned for that. So the synopsis basically goes when a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by horrific 70-year-old crime. His body is resurrected and becomes hell-bent on retrieving it.
Okay.
I'll just start off by saying the filmmakers were highly, highly inspired by Friday the 13th, like a lot. The killer's name's Johnny. And we'll see a lot of similarities as we go through the film.
Okay.
But the big hype about this film, or I don't know, gimmick, whatever, is it's filmed in the perspective of the killer. Now, when I tell you that, what film does that remind you of?
Well, the
Creature from the
beginning
Black Lagoon.
sequence of Halloween, I think of.
Why would you say Creature from the Black Lagoon?
This is the first thing I thought of that would not match what you were asking.
It's
Asshole.
not even close.
Did I
But you
get it
should know
right?
this.
Halloween, the first sequence?
Yeah, the first sequence, but there's a movie that's entirely done like that.
Oh, there's an action movie. What the heck is that one called?
Hardcore Henry, but that's a different
Hardcore
thing.
Henry. Yeah.
Is it
Oh,
that?
Maniac?
Maniac, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was that clown's vomit getting high one that you like.
See, I never saw the original Maniac. I just saw the one with was it Elijah Wood?
Yes,
Are they both done first person?
correct.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the only time you see Elijah Wood is when he looks in the mirror.
Right. But I never saw the original. The original does that too?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's Cannibal Killer Clowns on Dope, which is that one. And Suzy, you need to watch that. We're gonna have a watch party and record it. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, the perspective of the killer. It's not like that at all. Not really sure. I guess I could see where they're saying it is. It's just basically the camera is following the killer around. I mean, that's basically the perspective. A lot of him just looking at victims, not so much even before he kills them, but they could be talking. I mean, a couple was having an argument and he just watched it and then he walked away.
So it's not through his eyes, it's like an over the shoulder look?
Pretty much. Essentially
Like a
90%
video
of the
game?
film 90% of the film is third person. You are looking at his back and just like the back and head and him walking. And we'll get to the walking portion. So they really tried to sell that it was from the perspective of the killer, but yet there were times where they completely broke away from that and they just went like you were watching a regular movie. So I really didn't understand why that was such a big push in the marketing of this film. You'll be happy to know, Tim, there is a Morris the Explainer.
Oh, good. I hope he gets killed.
Maybe. Cliche enough, it was told around a campfire.
I did find a bunch of photos of the campfire. And I'm like, oh God, how long is this sequence? Because I just found like dozens of them when I was looking this thing up.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the positives for a moment, and then I'll say issues I have with the film. I won't just go straight negative.
Okay.
So the kills were good. There's a lot of gore, a lot of detail. There's a kill that I've never seen before in any film. It was quite inventive and filmed really well and quite disturbing. I can't take that away from this film.
Okay.
There was also a kill that wasn't gruesome or disturbing in that way, but the way they shot it, it just like the formula that they wanted to use for the entire film. It worked in this shot, and then this shot only. And
Okay.
I really have to give them props for that. It's a late kill, and it just made the shot full of suspense and tension, and it's probably the best scene of the film without a doubt. So with that being said, let's move to the issues.
Uh-oh.
So the start of the film is shot. There's you see the shot as it comes up from dark, and it's that fallen down fire tower or whatever that the locket was in. And I timed it, and so you're looking out this like broken window into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
The same shot for 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Was there a
You
pool
hear-
cleaner in the area?
Right? You might as well have one just come across the screen. You listen, there's a little bit of talking in the beginning, which is sort of a Morris the Explainer. It tells a little bit so you're not completely confused before the main Morris comes in.
Okay.
But yeah, it's 2 minutes and 40 seconds of just that one shot and nothing happening.
Oh my God.
And I just didn't understand. So another scene is it's the killer walking through the woods. You just see his back, and he's just walking straight through the woods, different paths. And I don't mean like it's different cuts of him walking through the path. It's him walking the same fucking path. Like we're actually walking in real time with this killer. So it was well over 3 minutes of him walking, man. That's all it was. So, yeah. So, Jason did this by showing, little clips of him walking, like, mean through the woods, and I get that to bring some tension that the monster's coming. But 3 minutes, man, just so much fucking walking in the movie. And there are so many other examples of this. It's astounding to me.
You know, there's actually a term for that in movie making. It's called
You hate your audience.
boot leather, showing characters walk up to something. It's typically called that, and it might be shoe leather. It's one of those two. And because in every movie they like establish, they drove up to the courthouse, so you see the character get out of the car, walk 3 steps toward the courthouse, and now we establish that, right? But it's always like a 10-second shot.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Just following somebody walking for more than 30 seconds, I can't think of anything more dull than that, except for maybe season 2 of Chucky.
It's so fucking mind-numbing. And then to top this, the director must not have liked the sound that was made of him walking through the woods. So in post-production, I'm sure they did the Foley artist or whatever, of him walking through the woods, which entailed leaves. So no matter where this killer walked, he was walking on leaves. And it was the same fucking sound and cadence of this fucking walk on leaves.
I know
when you're
this.
watching him walk on a goddamn fucking dirt road. Why are there leaves and the sound of the goddamn fucking sound, and it's just fucking 90 minutes? Ugh.
Because the sound guy liked potato chips.
Fuck, dude.
That sounds just like leaves.
Yeah, he was literally walking down a dirt road, and you're hearing leaves. I'm like, there's not a goddamn leaf in sight of this motherfucker. But
Wow.
anyway, I digress. The film's concept was good. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, the gore was great, and just the movie was dreadfully slow and boring.
Wow.
There are so
It
many
was
scenes
missing
that
something.
what Ryan
No, I would
Phillippe?
no. Yeah. Be quiet now.
Well, I've
Yeah.
been reading that this is like in my feeds, all they talk about is how innovative and how awesome this is. The beginning of a new franchise.
Oh yeah, IMDb said the second one's in pre-production.
Oh
So
God.
yeah, they're just I can't tell you how many scenes that it's like a minute of him walking, 2 minutes of him walking. That adds the fuck up, dude. And you get by the time he gets anywhere to kill somebody, you just don't care anymore. And you're like, oh, that's really cool gore, but I'm so checked out of this fucking movie, it doesn't even matter to me.
I
Um,
actually agree 100%.
Whoa.
nice. Wow. First
And
time I
no,
think
I'm
I've
being
ever heard that.
completely. That, that's the first time I've ever said that with you.
Oh my God.
With your honestly, to be honest, I mean, with your reviews, it's I 100% on point. I heard nothing but amazing things about this movie. I thought finally, for once, scary movie I was gonna absolutely love. Now I'm glad I did not waste my time spending money in the theater. I watched it at home and I fell asleep.
Yeah, I could see how you would.
Yeah,
You know,
because for exactly like you said, it was just like the same kind of scene over and over
yeah,
with
with
him walking
just
through. So yeah.
walking.
Yeah, we're getting this in the chat room as well. People are saying the same.
I stayed awake for it, but I was underwhelmed.
People and Sandy.
The
Sandy's
here,
not people.
We'll talk.
so here's where I said the runtime's going to come into play. You could cut, I don't even know, 20, 25 minutes of walking and nonsense from this movie. So you're what, Ed? That cuts a third of your film out. So
Oh wow.
I,
So you're
that's how
saying it needs a trip to the editing
end
bay.
it does. Um,
How is the
his
lighting?
his mask. I just want to make mention of his mask, and then I'll be done. But his mask was a cool concept because it's this whole mining thing.
Okay.
But once it just fell short to me. The eyes were almost comically big. So he would look at the fucking. He would be in the woods and be looking all mean, and people would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get killed," and he just got these big bug eye things. And for anybody that knows Masters of the Universe, the Buzz Off figure, just some big fucking eyes, man. It was ridiculous. It kind of took the scare out of it. It was almost
Michelle said
laughable at points.
Michelle said it looked like a minion in a slasher film.
That
Right? There you
that's
go. That's even better.
I've been looking at the photos as we got to go in the slideshow here, and that's what I kept thinking of was the minions.
And the first kill, he goes after this guy and he chases them through the woods. And that guy should never act in a movie ever again. It's ridiculous. Um, it could have been something different or decent, but that it just the pacing killed it, and the sound just finished it off for me. For me, just go get yourself a Friday the 13th film, hell, even the fifth one, and
No.
enjoy your film watching experience because this fucking shit ain't it. I'm ready to grade.
Go ahead.
All right, this is getting this grade because of the kills and the gore. Much respect to the effects artist that did that, but as a movie as a whole, D. Garbage.
Wow. A little rough.
We are on a roll tonight.
Hey Tim,
Wow. Yeah.
Tim, I don't know if you realize what hot take you just got that you should probably cut out and put in a small video to be played. But Mike saying that watching Friday the 13th Part 5, that's as hot of a take as you're ever getting.
Nope. That's how
Which
much.
one was 5 again?
When it
The one
wasn't
that
even,
wasn't-
it was Tommy Jarvis and
Yeah.
whatever. Not
It,
wasn't even
it,
Jason.
it was a mistake in the world doing that movie.
A porn director directed it.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of panels with folks from that one.
Rich
Also seen
had
that
him.
director's porns in horror realm.
Yeah, Rich had the director at Horror Realm, and he just went in the VHS room and started playing the old porns that he directed.
How did
The
I miss
greatest
that?
day ever. That was old. That was a long time ago.
All right. Well, it's time for my review. And I don't know if any of you have heard of this film. It did come out earlier this year. I'm not quite sure when. It's an Australian indie horror film by the name of Sting. Did any of you hear of this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Did it have Ryan Phillippe?
It did not, oddly enough.
Then
Not
no,
all
I never heard of
movies
it.
star Ryan Phillippe. Anyway, Sting is a giant spider movie. I mean, if you see any of the previews, you see any of the pictures, you see any of the posters, this is not a hidden thing, that this is a giant spider movie. Most giant spider movies you see are pretty campy. Let me tell you a little bit about this one, and I'll tell you what my feel for this one was. It's about a young teen girl that runs around in the vents of her apartment building, where her comic book artist stepfather is the building supervisor, and her grandmother is the owner. Okay, that's the scene. She finds a spider that in the opening sequence we saw came from a meteor that came and like a little tiny chunk about the size of a meatball broke into the home. For some reason, she decides to collect the pet in like a jar, and she keeps it as a pet. It's a weird little thing with unusually strong and fast webbing. It can actually mimic sounds. Like she does a little, some sort of whistle, and it'll say it back, and that's when she knows that the spider is hungry.
Like the spider makes a sound.
Yeah, it does a little something like that.
Like a cat.
Almost. It is a little that way, but it's a creepy sound effect. It's creepy.
I was just unaware they could make noise.
They can't. But this is a spider that came from a meteor. That's the thing you gotta kind of keep in mind. They're not claiming it is a spider. It's an alien that looks like a spider. The most disconcerting thing about this spider is it grows about twice its size in less than a day.
Can I just ask one question? I don't know if anybody else is thinking this. When the spider started making noise, why don't you smash it with a brick?
This is a 13-year-old girl. She's not very bright.
Are you saying she's not very bright because she's a girl? That's awful.
Absolutely.
Awful.
She is so self-involved, which I kind of watched it. I went, kids that age, they're self-involved.
The parents don't realize that this thing is growing at an exponential rate?
She kind of hides it from them.
She's a teenager. All parents try to ignore their awful teenager children.
I mean, in defense of the movie, by the time it's the size of a fist, it's kind of like escaped and gotten away, and now it's crawling around in the vents. So it isn't very big while it's still with the little girl. And that's kind of one of the interesting things about this movie. As I explained that first part there, you think you know what the end of the movie is. Oh, she made friends with this spider, so later on she'll do like that little whistle, the spider will get distracted, know that it loves the little girl and all that. You're expecting that. Let me tell you, it's nothing like that. It does not go that direction at all, which is great because I'm like, okay, I've seen this movie. And it really, it kind of veers from that. But it does have some of the other tropes. It has the missing household pets, neighbors that disappear. What it does have that I really like, this little girl, even though she's not the most likable character in the world, she's a little bratty girl, and her character name is Charlotte, which is good for a spider movie. She's played by Alila Brown, and she was very good. She's selfish, she's emotional, she's prone to pouting, and she acts very much like a kid that age would act. Not necessarily looking out for others or anything else. Very often, she is jealous of her kid. I think it was brother. It's like a baby that's joined the family. Anytime she's told no, she's like, ugh, and runs out. I mean, it's really a very good character and a very good actor. You don't like her entirely, but that's good. You know, it's a well-rounded actor. Now, the other actors also in this movie do a surprisingly good job in what in essence is another Sci-Fi Channel flick. But what separates this is instead of doing tons of CGI, it's mostly practical effects done by Weta or Weta. Those are the guys that did a lot of the effects for Lord of the Rings down in Australia. And they were really good effects. The production quality was good. You had great lighting. It was well produced. The acting was good throughout. I really have no complaints. And again, this is kind of a campy idea. You got the giant spider. I think of movies like Big Ass Spider, Eight-Legged Freaks, Tarantula back in the day. And it's the idea of a young girl that befriends a horrible monster and all this. So I was expecting, oh God, here we go. It is going to be Arachnophobia 4, you know. It wasn't. It did have some humorous moments. There is an exterminator character that's kind of funny. But they use him for a quick comedy bit, and then they're back to the creepiness of this whole thing. Now, being a giant spider movie, like you would expect, there's a lot of the giant spider crawling around in the background and nobody noticing it, which, you know, the first couple of times they're like, ew. And after that, it's kind of like, okay, is everybody blind? That thing's the size of a Buick. It does have a few jump scares, which I always find cheap, but it kind of works for this movie because what's scary about a spider? Seeing it all of a sudden. That's what's scary about it. So that's actually a good choice for this type of flick. It's a fun movie. It's creepy. It's a giant spider movie that doesn't completely suck or become a comedy. So I have to give it credit because, frankly, if you're doing a giant spider movie, you're kind of starting from behind. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a concept that's been done a lot. It's
like doing a shark movie.
You know, as much as I love Jaws, it did bring us all those.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I totally I can't get into all the Sharknado and all that garbage, you know. So I am going to go ahead and grade this one, and I am going to give it a B plus.
Wow.
It is, I believe, on video on demand right now. I would probably wait until it is free. They are probably not going to put it on a free streaming service until after Halloween. But it's a good little flick. It's definitely, if you see this poster that we're showing there on your streaming service and it's free, it's definitely worth your time. I don't know that I would pay $5 to watch your special or anything like that, but certainly worth your time to view if it's included in the streaming service that you happen to use. So that was Sting 2024 release. And now it is time for us to get to all of our promos here. And we're going to go straight to Horror Realm. Rich, have you got something you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, give me a second. I'm waking back up here.
Hurtful.
No, it wasn't you. I'm doing the show, laying on the couch, and I kind of dozed off. I'm sorry. So,
Wow.
so Horror Realm. I'm excited to announce we just booked another guest, and you're going to hear it here first tonight.
Yay!
But before I announce this guest, we do have an upcoming Horror Realm Radio this month as well, and I'm going to have a minimum of 5 guests to announce on that show, and I think people are going to be really excited. But tonight is about this one actress, a little different than anything we've done in the past, but I think people will be excited. I think there's maybe some new fans that we can interest in Horror Realm. It's a voice actress. Her name is Allison Court.
Yay!
Oh my God, am I still asleep and having a nightmare? Allison, people would be the things that she would be most well known for in our little world. She is Claire Redfield in the Resident Evil video games, which, Mike will back me up on this. Arguably the most popular character in that entire gaming franchise, wouldn't you say, Mike?
Oh, definitely top 3.
Yeah.
So,
And then I know Jill Valentine's up there too. But anyway, huge gaming voice actress. And then for Beetlejuice fans, she was the voice of Lydia in the animated series.
Which is on Tubi right now, by the way, everybody. It's free.
So really excited to have her. Something different, which, we always like to try some different things and see what our fans like and if we can find some new people. So I hope everyone will enjoy this as much as I do. I'm really excited to meet her. And, look at her IMDb. It's huge. I mean, she was also Jubilee in the X-Men animated series from the 90s. Apparently there was a children's show in Canada that was popular, Big Comfy Couch.
When I did a search on her, that was it was all over that. She was actually on the show for 10 years.
Yeah, and apparently her role was, I'm not familiar with the show, but it was she wasn't the couch, but I think she was something pretty big.
I think she was the main host because I found an entire story about how she got the Big Comfy Couch.
Okay.
That she actually got it at the end of the series or something.
Oh, cool.
It was a big deal. I wasn't familiar with it because I wasn't a kid still in 1992. But I think people of a certain age are going to love that.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's our announcement. What's up, Mike?
Casting couch? Is that what
No,
you said?
the Big Comfy Couch. She played Lunette the Clown.
Never mind. I'm sorry.
You're thinking of the Big Nasty Couch. That's the Harvey Weinstein announcement that we'll have later this month.
I honestly,
What was that show with the elephant? It was a cartoon with an elephant.
that would be Sesame Street, and it was a Snuffleupagus.
That's Snuffleupagus. It was a cartoon. My child watched it. It had I don't know.
But
she did that too.
Babar?
Yes,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was on that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a period there where it seems like every animated feature that was on television, it looks like she was a voice.
She's got an amazing resume, and I hope we can spread the word far for those who like voice actresses, and hopefully everybody likes what we're doing. But tune in for Horror Realm Radio, and you're going to be blown away.
It's going to be great, and it's coming up. I also want to mention very quickly the website. We have some new stuff going on there. Next week, we will have another episode of Dead on the Bases at otherworldlyculture.com. Something else we just launched is we have a weekly column for the last couple months called the Clipping Service, where we cut any, not any, we're very selective, but we pick stories that are in our wheelhouse. So we're talking about movies, we're talking about toys, we're talking about wrestling, we're talking about all that stuff. We have started a Facebook group where if you want to get the latest news, in those areas, you can go to the Facebook group, and we post a couple almost every day out there that we find out there on the interwebs. And if you'd like to contribute, please let us know, and we'll get you to be a part of this new thing called the Clipping Service. So that's going on as well. And I think that's everything. Anybody else have something they want to push here?
Hey, I do want to push something. I want a new name. Will you guys start calling me Wolf Urine?
Wolf Urine.
No. Yeah.
That's 2 words, and that's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Is where meat is just one.
Right.
All right. I'll keep working on it.
We'll workshop that, Rich. We'll
All right, thanks.
Okay, well, we're in the process of updating some things, so there you go. That'll be something else that we can do then, because you guys are always very good about finding things for me to do.
Well, I got plenty for you.
Oh, jeez.
Save it for Debbie Gibson and Hush.
God. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, we'll be on next week on Dead on Thursday with Dead on the Bases. Make sure to tune in for that. Remember to rate us, like us, and follow us on any of the podcast applications or on Twitch and YouTube. It helps us find new viewers so we can keep doing our programming here on Otherworldly Culture. You can find us on social media, most places we're Otherworldly Culture. And then for some reason on Instagram, we're Radio Other. Or no, that's Twitch or Twitter or X or whatever the hell it is. So we got a couple out there, but please do tune in. You can always follow us. The easiest way is to just follow us on the website, otherworldlyculture.com. That's it for this week. And remember, when you aim at horror, make sure you are dead on. See you next time. Otherworldlyculture.com.